We're going to call this meeting to order at 5:30. Let's do roll call. Just tap on it. Just tap on it. Okay. All members present except for Sylvester Vasquez. Dr. Ball?
Yes, ma'am. Tonight we do have two public hearings, and we will start with our first one. And our Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Crisp, along with Walsh and Mo Casey, will be presenting us some information.
All right, thank you very much. First of all, I'll introduce Blake Henshaw with Walsh Gallegos, Kathy Matthias and Justin Barlow with Mo Casey. Justin, you get back there. We're here to talk about Project Orca, a great opportunity for the greater San Antonio area, Barrow County, and the Southwest community. And I'm going to let Blake talk about it. It's called a jetty. It's a new way of doing business in Texas, I believe. And so the possibility of an investment of $2 billion in our community by Toyota that could come in the future to expand the existing manufacturing facility in Southwest ISD with a new complete vehicle assembly line. $2 billion.
$2 billion.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. And the construction, if it comes to fruition, would commence in 2026 and begin in 2031. We are partnering with Mo Casey to kind of talk about the financial implications, so the board is fully aware of what would happen if this would become part of Southwest ISD. So I'm going to turn it over to Kathy.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Mo Casey worked on the Toyota 313 application all those 20 plus years ago. So it's kind of come full circle. He said a lot of the things about the project. One of the things to note is that the project will be located in an opportunity zone, which are these federal zones that are designated as, I think, low economic development and helps them develop. And because it's going to be located in an opportunity zone, it would only be taxed at 25% for M&O purposes. It's still fully taxed for INS, just like 313 was, but M&O is a 25% taxable value based on the market value. So whatever the appraisal district sets for the market value, you're going to get M&O taxes on 25% of that. So that's a little different than 313. The limitation does start in 2031 and it runs for 10 years, very similar to what 313 was. So how does it impact your finances? With school finance and the equalized system, it's not an equalized wealth system per se anymore. If you get more taxes, you're going to lose state aid. So you're pretty much revenue neutral. And that is what we found when we did the analysis on the Toyota project, that you do get a very small baby gain, which could possibly be due to rounding or some interactions of formulas in tier 2 golden pennies. We're talking about $1,000 to $6,000 a year for a total of about $30,000. So it's pretty much neutral revenue for you. It's not hurting you, which is the good news. We want to make sure that none of these projects impact districts negatively, and it does help you. Just a little bit in there, but it also helps with your INS rate because we give you a little bit more bond capacity. The peak value for INS purposes is like $838 million. So that would be additional on your tax rolls. I believe it's in the first year of the limit. And so that can help with capacity or possibly adjust your rate down, which helps all of your taxpayers in the school district. Typical, that's what would happen with 313, same thing, fully taxed for INS, which can impact your bonds. For M&O, the company would save about $39 million in M&O taxes over the 10 years. During construction, which is the first 3 years, the company does not pay any taxes for M&O purposes except on land. Land is still taxed. It's not part of the incentive program at all, but they pay zero taxes during the construction period. So for anything else. So that between the 3 years of construction and the 10 years of the limitation, the company would save about $39 million as it stands right now. Of course, the values that the company estimates are what they think it'll be. It's ultimately set by the appraisal district every year. And that's kind of the high level summary of your finance. Any questions?
And then Blake's going to walk you through the process now that we're moving forward through this.
And hello again, everybody. I think about a year ago, I zoomed in and talked with y'all when we were considering this. I hate the microphone because I have a very loud voice as it is, but I'll try not to talk too long because, you know, being a lawyer, I like to talk. And so, but I will, I will keep it short. So essentially, this is the first step. Tonight, we're having a public hearing. You'll be approving our agreement and Mo Casey's agreement, and those are paid, you know, the fee, application fee that the company paid basically pays our fee to represent you. And then you will be making a motion and approving a resolution that says that you're okay going forward. It's not an agreement. It's not like the final stamped, you know, done deal at this point. It just means that y'all are voting and passing a resolution that you are agreeable to move forward. This process is a little different than the old 313. It's a three-party agreement. So if y'all vote tonight that you're agreeable to move forward, then we will be negotiating that agreement. It'll be between the district, the governor's office, and Toyota. So it's a three-party agreement. You know, we found the governor's office is some kind like the fly in the ointment when it comes to these agreements, but they seem to be getting a little better. So as far as negotiating the agreement, it's pretty statutory. There's not a lot. We're just going to make sure that it meets the statutory requirements. The numbers are correct, but I say negotiating, and I mean that very loosely because unlike the old 313s where you could, there was amounts you could negotiate, some districts even threw in a little bit of bonus here or there for maybe your education foundation. We can't do any of that under the statute. They absolutely precluded and banned that. And so that agreement, usually it may be anywhere from 6 months, we have up to a year to enter into it. So really it's going to depend on the timeline of the governor's office and Toyota, and I'll be available. And then once we have that agreement ironed out, everybody, make sure that all the numbers are correct. We're all good. It meets the statute. Then we'll bring that back to you at a later board meeting, and that's when you will approve the agreement. So that's where it goes. So you vote tonight to say that you're agreeable, and then tomorrow my office will send out a letter, which is statutorily required. We have to send a letter to the governor's office and the comptroller saying that y'all are agreeable to move forward. And so that will be coming from my office tomorrow, assuming y'all vote for that later at your public meeting. So that's the process. Do y'all have any further questions? So you get to see me one more time.
Thank you very much. Do we have any people in the audience that would like to ask a question or have a comment? No, I would like to go on the record that Toyota is an excellent partner with Southwest. So I think anything they do is going to benefit us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, since there's no questions or comments, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 5:38. And we'll start our next meeting at 5:45. We're going to call this next public hearing in order at 5:46. We'll do roll call again. Thank you, guys. Dr. Ball?
We'd like to welcome Loretta Zavala, and she's going to give us a report on ESSA Consolidated Federal Grant application, and then open it up for public comments. Thank you, Loretta.
Thank you. Good afternoon, board members, Dr. Ball. What you see on the display is a breakdown of the allocations we received for each of the grants under ESSA. For Title I, which is the grant that's used to provide high-quality education to all students, we are projected to receive $4,447,536. And we kind of break that down into how we're going to be using that. 88% of those funds are used for staff salaries, as well as instructional materials, supplies, online materials, and extended programs for students. 5% of those funds will be for any sort of professional development and or conference trainings that staff may go to. Less than 1% is used for the not private nonprofit funds that we send to Region 20 because they have the SSA with us where our students that live within our district but don't attend our schools, attend a private school, we have to send the funding that would follow those students to, instead of sending it to the private school, we send it to Region 20 and they provide services to those students. So that is the PMP, less than 1%. And then slightly more than 1% is for our parent involvement in activities, both at the campus and at the district level. For Title I Part C migrant, those funds, 100% of them go to Region 20. We have an SSA agreement with them and they provide all of the services for our migrant students. Title II, which is increasing student academics based on improving teachers and principals through professional development and training. That breakdown, the amount we're receiving is $577,380. And 61% of that goes to our support personnel, which is salaries for either coordinators or specialists, people in the curriculum and instruction division that assist with that. We also have 19% of those funds that go towards contracted services for consultants or professional development. We have 11% that is earmarked for materials and supplies, and then 5% for travel to conferences or trainings that are outside of the district where we don't bring someone in. Title III funds, the amount that we're allocated is $261,569. And those are the funds that are used to improve the education of our limited English proficient students. That breakdown is 75% of those funds will go to support personnel. Again, these are the coordinators and the specialist people who assist with those demographic of students. 14% is going to be earmarked for the development of those instructional staff, again, their PD. 7% is for funding travel for not only teachers, but any of the administrators related to the bilingual education program so that they continue to receive their own training. And then in Title IV is the well-rounded, improved safe and healthy students, and then the utilization of educational technology. We will be receiving $338,132, and the breakdown that we are looking to allocate those funds are 58% of those will be for safe and healthy students and improving the conditions for student learning. 26% will be for the practice of students to improve their technology. And then the last one is 12%, and that is for well-rounded education, which is college readiness, fine arts, things of that nature. And that is the breakdown. Do you have any questions?
Can you go to that?
Go
Can you
back.
go to the previous slide? I just want to get
Yes.
that percentage. Okay, that's all I needed.
Okay.
Do we have any questions, board members? Any comments? Okay, also, anybody, let me look at my agenda, make sure I'm not doing it. Yeah, any public comments on the thing that was presented? No? Okay. Thank you, Loretta.
Thank you.
And being that there's no more comments or questions, we'll call this meeting to a close at 5:51. We're going to call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Dr. Ball?
Yes, today we are going to start with our invocation and pledges.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I did again. We're going to do roll call first. Somebody's missing, right? Flo, roll call. Thank you. Everybody's present except for Sylvester Vasquez.
Please join us for invocation and pledges.
Okay, sorry. Lord, as we gather here tonight, we are reminded that the work of education is ultimately about people. It is about the students who walk through our doors each day looking for opportunities to learn, grow, and discover who they can become. It is about the teachers and staff who invest their time, energy, and hearts into making that journey possible. It is also about the families and community members who place their trust in our schools and share in our hopes of our future. As we begin this meeting, may we approach our conversations with wisdom and decisions with purpose. When challenges arise, may we meet them with patience. When opinions differ, may we respond with understanding. In this season of summer, we are especially grateful for the chance that many have to rest, recharge, and spend time with those they love. May that time bring renewal, encouragement, and may all who are traveling, working, or learning simply enjoy the days and be kept safe. We have grateful hearts. We thank you for the opportunity to serve and for the privilege of working together on behalf of all of our students. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Roger. We'll move on to recognitions.
Board, if you will join me so we can have some recognitions.
Wait, right here. You're going to stay right here. Hold on. Wait, right. I'll line them up right here. All right. Today we are recognizing the Southwest Pony League's All-Stars 2026 World Series champs. And boy, let me tell you, we have some amazing young talent from the Southwest ISD community. Our very own Southwest Pony League was blessed to
So
have
guys,
six
what y'all are gonna do
teams
is go
in the
shake their
pony.
hands, okay? Go shake their hands. Go shake their hands. Good job. Good job. Good job.
We were blessed to have 6 teams with the Pony South Zone World Series championships last summer. Teams from Texas, Louisiana, and Florida faced off to claim the Pony South Zone championship. The following teams did an amazing job representing the Southwest ISD community. This first team you see up here is Texas Made for You Full South Zone Pony World Series champs, led by head coach Robert Guzman, who happens to be a Southwest High School alumni. Interesting to note that his father, the coach's father, Raul Guzman, was the founding president of Southwest Pony League back in 1992. The Guzman family's dedication to the Southwest community has been for 2 generations. Coach Robert not only worked in the field and in the concession stand, but also the league president for several years. Now he's been able to add being the head coach, not to 1, but 2 Pony World Series championship teams. Congratulations.
Perfect. Oh, there you go. Look.
Show your rings. You got your rings. Show your rings there.
Everybody look.
Look this way, right here, okay? Right here. Right here?
Oh, hold on. Hold the, I know.
We'll get it, we'll get it. Ready, and big smile, 1, 2, 3.
Hang on, let me fix this.
All right, there we go. There we go.
There we go. One more time. Ready, and 1, 2, 3. Perfect, okay, hang on real quick. I know parents want to take a picture. Go ahead. I don't know. Look right there, straight ahead.
If all the parents for these wonderful young students, will you please stand? We'd like to recognize you also for all your dedication to make this happen. It's truly a team effort. The kids, the coaches, the parents, all the hard work. So thank you all so much for doing this. We are so proud of you guys. We are very, very proud of you. Okay, so now you're gonna come out this way and go around so we can do the next group. So we are so proud of you.
I think
Good
Coach
job.
Guzman needs to stay because we have one more of his team.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Our next team is Texas Made 6U Shetland South Zone Pony World Series champs, also led by head coach Robert Guzman.
Good job, sweetheart. Good job. Great job. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so now you're going to hold this one right there, okay? We're super proud of y'all. Okay, awesome. Come on over, sir. Awesome.
You're gonna follow me first, take a picture over this side, and I'll let you take one with your friends, okay? There you go. Ready right there, perfect. And 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Hang on real quick, if anybody wants to take a picture.
If the parents for these wonderful individuals, will you please stand? We want to recognize you also. Thank y'all.
Just these last two were
Thank
not
you
here.
guys, thank y'all. So we'll go right this way, okay? We are very proud of your
Let me know
rings,
if they
your
do.
medals, all your hard work. Yes, awesome, awesome. Thank y'all, coaches. Thank y'all so much. Thank you.
Our next team we'd like to recognize are Prospects 8U Pinto Softball South Zone World Series champs, led by head coach Leanne Coleman. Congratulations. 6U. 6U. 6U.
Congratulations. I'm going to give it to one of the girls to hold. Is that okay?
So are you Queen Bees? Are you Queen Bees?
Okay. Perfect. So you scoot over a little bit that way, a little bit this way, just so we kind of balance it out.
Oh, I said it wrong.
Perfect. Perfect. And you, sweetheart, you're going to hold this nice
That was
and proud.
6U Shetland Softball South Zone Pony
Perfect.
World
You
Series.
can be
That's who
right
this is,
there.
Shetland.
I'll stand next to you. Perfect.
Big smile. And 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Hang on 1 second. We're gonna let the parents take a picture.
In case y'all didn't hear me, this is Prospect 6U Shetland Softball South Zone Pony World Series champs.
Yes.
Want to make sure.
So if any of the parents for these wonderful young ladies, will you please stand? We'd like to recognize you also. So if any parents here, thank y'all. Super proud. So you're going to go that way, okay, sweeties? Good job. Go this way, sweetheart. Awesome. Good job. Good job. Thank you.
And now we also would like to recognize Prospects 8U Pinto Softball South Zone World Series champs, led by head coach Leanne Coleman.
Congratulations. And if you stand kind of like right here in the middle, right there, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, we'll stand a little closer.
Big smile. And 1, 2, 3.
Any family members for these two young ladies? Will you please stand? Woohoo! Awesome. Oh, okay, let's take another picture. Another picture. Great job. Very proud of y'all. Good job. Right through there, okay? Y'all keep playing, okay? Good job.
Now, we did have two more teams that weren't able to make it, but we do want to recognize them. Queen Bees 8U Pinto Softball South Zone World Series runner-up and Primetime Elite 10U Mustang Softball South Zone World Series champs as well.
That does conclude the most exciting part of the meeting, so we'll take about 5 minutes and we'll let people exit if they'd like to go. Thank y'all for coming. Okay, we're going to move on to item 5, which is the consent agenda. Board members, you have had that available to you. Are there any questions or things that you'd like to remove from the consent agenda? We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. If there's no other questions or concerns, all those in favor vote yes. Those not, vote no. Okay, motion passes. Thank you all. We will move on to second page. Here we go. Item 6, items of information, the construction update.
Yes,
Thomas?
ma'am.
Oh, look at-
First, we have Alvarado Elementary. So Onel Jimenez and James Nitschke are here to give that report.
Good evening. We're very happy to be here this evening to present the construction update. Project overview. You're at this point very familiar with the building and have visited out there and seen how things are going. We're about 97% complete at this point. There's still some minor work going on the exterior and a few things going on the interior, but most of those activities on the interior are finishing out and finalizing, just finishing touches and such. As you look at the exterior of the building, you can see that, you know, all of the main exterior finishes are in place. You're starting to see landscaping in place, so nice green looking grass and some trees and such. And as you can see, the what we call butter blocks, limestone blocks or seating and benching are out there in the front and also in the courtyard. Also, this is looking at the main entrance as you enter into the main entry vestibule, and also looking at the library canopy. So as you get into the main entrance, you can see again more completion. You can start seeing the light fixtures, the ceiling, the floor is covered there, protected, but there is a terrazzo tile floor beneath that, and you can see the tile on either side of that entry vestibule. Looking also into the cafeteria, you can see the acoustical wood slats and light fixtures. Flooring is in place, acoustical panels and such. So again, starting to look more complete. This is looking into the library. We're starting to see the pops of color from the paint. The vertical striping, as we've talked about in design, kind of is meant to symbolize the spine of books as they're stacked in the library. Looking into the gym, again, seeing more completed look. The flooring is in place, still finalizing, but acoustical panels. Looking into the corridors, again, looking more complete, flooring in place, wall tile, wainscot, sink areas. Looking into classrooms, you're starting to see the millwork all in place and ceilings finalized. And going into the corridors, you're starting to see again the flooring and the coloring and starting to see that language of neighborhood. As you can see here, the corridor has the striping, the yellow striping, and then you go into the classroom and the millwork has that same. So giving that sense of neighborhood in that area. Same thing is happening in the orange and other colors. So looking at where we are in terms of finalizing, I'll turn it over to James to talk a little bit about how we're finalizing with the city and such.
Right. So the big focus now is just kind of finalizing our permits and inspections with the city. So that's kind of an ongoing process, you know, that's been ongoing for the past few weeks. So those final inspections are starting to close out. Next week, we'll have final inspections for fire and building. So all of that's coming together great. Like Onel said, and the site's really starting to come together, and all those colors are starting to come out. So it's looking really nice.
So we're looking forward to seeing you guys on the next visit, so you can see how it's looking. Any questions? Thanks.
Okay, and we have, the next one is the Legacy High School edition. So Raul Yanis is here and Zach Pacioni with Joris.
Good. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Ball. Appreciate the opportunity to present to you all tonight. The project, the addition, Southwest Legacy High School, going extremely well in terms of the pay application percentage complete through May is 89%. We're actually a little bit further along than that. I would venture to say probably about 95, 96% in terms of overall completion. Some of the scope of work that's happening now, we can go to the pictures, the next page. A little bit of an overview on the top left picture, kind of shows an overview of the entire building. With that, we have all the exterior building envelope completed. All of the roof has been completed. Obviously, all the face brick, all the exterior materials have been completed. On the photo on the top right, you start seeing some landscaping on the exterior. We got some trees. Speaking with Zach earlier, the sod or the grass is going in this week. I think it already started yesterday. So that should be completed fairly quickly. All of the exterior sidewalks, things of that nature have already been poured. So we should start seeing that exterior be completed fairly quickly here. The next couple of shots are just some interior shots. We have the two stairwells, the south and the north end. You start seeing some of the finishes already completed in these spaces. Lights are all burning. So we've got both first and second floor pretty much completed in terms of finishes and on the interior, all of the restrooms, all the wall tile, partitions, fixtures, everything's done. The last two pictures at the bottom is the choir room where we got all of the VCT already in. Some of the tiles are out. I think they were doing some above ceiling work, but all of that is completed. The bottom right picture is a general or a typical classroom, which again, those have been completed as well. So again, the project as a whole, I think came out pretty nicely in terms of the overall intent that we wanted to make sure it matched the existing building. And I think that did pretty well. And kudos to Joris for being able to get us there.
I have a question.
Yes,
On the choir, it's kind of blurry, but I think it says choir suite
Mhm.
view or something. Is that level, the tile?
The
It looks raised, just the way the picture shows.
Yeah, it's level with the floor.
Okay.
I think there's just a small little lip on there. Obviously, we've got the concrete, the polished concrete next to it, but it's got a nice little trim on that.
So how much room is there between the not? I guess what I'm asking is the yellowish part, is that flat
It is.
like the concrete?
It is.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, it's just hard to tell here.
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect.
Look in the picture diagonal to it, the stairwell, and you see the yellow and the green and the gray. That's the same type of flooring, but there's a black transition strip that's about a quarter
Yeah.
inch.
The pictures make it look like.
It's
like it's
elevated.
Yeah. Okay, that looks really pretty.
Yes, but
I
it's
like it.
everything's flat. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I got to visit
Yes.
earlier this week.
Mhm.
It's absolutely beautiful. The choir room I told Richard, it's
Mhm.
absolutely fantastic with all the spaces on the side where
Yes.
kids can practice. Looks great. Just like Ms. Sadolkin said, that part on the floor where it's like the decorative piece that's in the hallways gives it a really special touch.
Yes.
You can't tell which is the new building and which is the old building when you're walking
Yes.
inside. So fabulous
I thought
job.
that was the biggest compliment when you walked
Mhm.
in and said, where did it
Mhm.
start and where did it end? Just because it transitioned, that was obviously the original intent to make
Mhm.
sure that this all looked like it was built at the same time.
I also love that there was an office space there that an administrator can be in that area too. So great job. Great job, Thomas.
Appreciate it.
Do y'all have any questions? Oh, I have one thing.
Mhm.
So we visited Crewell the other day, well, probably a couple months ago. And in the hallways, well, that doesn't happen in high school, right? They don't take those food carts around the high school? Okay, then we don't have that problem. Okay.
So the only other one thing I would add is they did start, JR Incorporated started delivering furniture today.
Oh.
First set of trucks came in. It was mostly the office furniture in different places there. And then the rest of this week, they'll have a couple more coming.
Perfect. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you all so much. Appreciate y'all.
Construction updates.
Thank you, Brandon. We're going to move on to, we have the monthly tax report.
Yes, man, we're tracking really well. We're at 94% collection. It's
Okay.
similar to where we were last year at this point. We've got a few more months to get to the, we'd like to be about 99% collection.
So our goal is 99.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we have the monthly financial report. Does anybody have any questions on that? No? The monthly investment report.
Yes, ma'am. I would talk a little bit about the investment report. Due to ongoing conflicts and politics and things that are happening around the world, I know starting in early January, we started to see a dip in interest rates on our investment portfolio. And so we recently went through a few months where, you know, when you're talking about what we have with fund balance and bond funds and the amount of money we have out in the market, we saw a projection that we think that we were going to be targeting as the year went on, actually coming in a lot lower. Fortunately, in May, at the end of May, because it's calm now, rates have kind of gone back up. So hopefully this summer, there should be some great traction. But right now, just on investment revenue, we are projecting to have lower revenue than what we expected for this fiscal year.
Yeah, so as a board, when we start looking at the budgeting process, we have to consider that we're not going to have that. Thank you, Brandon. We have report on gifts and bequests, the enrollment report, review of purchases over 100,000, Southwest ISD Education Foundation annual report.
Yes, ma'am. We have Ms. Collier, Jenny Collier is going to give a report. Southwest ISD is very blessed to have a foundation that started many years ago and still flourishes and does a great job under Ms. Collier's leadership, and also with some amazing foundation members that are in the back. So thank you, Jenny, for giving this report.
Good evening, Dr. Ball and board members. Yes, I'll be presenting the inaugural annual report for the Southwest Education Foundation. Now, before we go into the report, I do want to give a little background on our foundation. Like Dr. Ball mentioned, we've been fortunate to have the foundation since 2007. Dr. Ball and Dr. Gates were instrumental in getting the foundation off the ground and started. So thank you for all that work. Over the years, we've seen a lot of changes along with some few steady, familiar faces who have remained committed throughout the journey. Now, the foundation has accomplished some great things, and we're excited about building on that success. This past year, we partnered with Foundation Innovation to help modernize and strengthen our organization. Together, we've updated our bylaws. We're in the process of updating our policies and procedures to better position the foundation for the future. We've also are in the process of transitioning to a working board model, allowing our board members to take a more active role in our efforts. You'll hear me reference Foundation Innovation several times throughout this presentation as I share the work we've accomplished this year. This year, we've recently recruited some new board members, also elected a new executive board. At this time, I would like to introduce the executive board. Dr. James Gates, our president, if you would please stand. If you are here, please stand when I say your name. We have Carla Medina, Director at Large, Travis Versiv, VP of Events and Marketing, Dan Choate, VP of Finance and Governance, Dr. Samantha Borrego, Vice President of Programs, Kyle Gates, Vice President of Development, and Priscilla Vometta, Board Secretary. And I'm going to briefly name all of our general board as well. We have Ryan Bergman, Julian Casillas, who could not make it today because his wife gave birth to their second daughter, so congratulations to him. Gene Russell, Jorge Flores, James Nitschke, Rafael Bedoya, the Smiths, Danny and Helen Smith, Marty Smith, Erica Narvaez, Manny Mojica, and Chris Sulloway. Thank you for all the work you all do. Over the last few years, we've been very intentional about ensuring the foundation operates independently from the district. We've taken several steps to establish that independence, including purchasing the foundation's own supplies and equipment and creating a separate Google Workspace account. While the foundation is its own organization, we've also worked hard to strengthen our partnership with the district. Currently, our mission is to provide financial resources and serve as ambassadors for the programs and initiatives that support Southwest ISD's strategic plan. The vision is to be the foundation of choice for businesses, civic groups, and other philanthropic organizations that invest in talented, civic-minded future leaders. As part of our work with the Foundation Innovation, we will be evaluating this mission and vision just to make sure that we're aligned with the district's strategic goals. One of our priorities has been maintaining a clear communication and ensuring our efforts align with the district goals and priorities. Now, this alignment is especially important when it comes to awarding grants and supporting initiatives that have the greatest impact on students and staff. For example, at one time, the foundation was awarding grants for gardens, not realizing the district was moving away from classroom gardens because of the upkeep, especially through the summer. Now, moving forward, because of that, we plan on bringing in people from C&I and technology before we award grants to ensure alignment with the district. Now, before I dive into this year's annual report, I'd like to take a moment to look back at where we've been the last few years. Let's review the foundation's progress and accomplishments over the last 5 years. In 2021 and the years prior, the foundation was raising on average about $140,000 each year. During that same time, the foundation would give back about $30,000 more than what was raised each year. In 2023, I stepped into the role of executive director. Brandon Medina and Dr. Sam Ruiz also began taking on more responsibility. Their roles were expanded as they took on more of the fundraising and event coordination efforts. Together, we became more intentional and active in pursuing donations, applying for grants, and applying to participate in United Way and gathering the documentation needed for audits and insurance. Here's a closer look at those numbers. As I mentioned, in 2021, 22, 22, 23, on average, it was about 140. 2022, 23, it was 131. 21, 22, we raised about $147,000. And if you look at the funds donated, as I mentioned, it's about 20 to 30,000 more than what was raised that we were donating back to the district. During 2023 and 2024, we took time to closely look at what was working and what needed improvement and where we had opportunities to grow. That was a year with this new team, so we really took it as a learning year. That following year, we set a higher fundraising goal, and we were proud to exceed it. Now, a big part of that success, of course, was thanks to Dr. Ball, who helped us think through strategy and making stronger connections. I'm not going to lie, it also helped that we had just passed, the district had just passed a bond. And so that created an opportunity for many of our vendors to step up and sponsor and support the foundation. Last year, Daniel Barcenas took over from Dr. Ruiz and brought in some wonderful ideas and has been a great addition to the foundation. Now, I also want you to take a look at, there is a reason the foundation has been able to donate more to the district than what it's raised by looking at our investment account. Last year, the foundation gave back a little more than $640,000 to Southwest ISD. That support included the $50 HEB gift cards for every employee, district initiatives, and both the teacher and student grants. Now, to make this possible, the foundation used a portion of the interest earned from the investment account along with the funds raised throughout the year. As a result, the investment account decreased from about $5.1 million to $4.7 million. If you look at that first chart there, that first bar, that's why we started off the year at $4.7 million. However, over the course of the year, the account continued to grow, and as of May 31st, it had returned to approximately $5.1 million. It often feels like the more the foundation gives back, the more the account is blessed and continues to grow. I'm not really sure if it works that way, but I think it has more to do with the markets, but it definitely feels that way. Now, we are currently on track to finish the year approximately with $375,000 in interest earnings. Now, this pattern has been fairly consistent from year to year, despite all the interesting things that happened over the year in politics, but we've still been very steady. A few years ago, our VP of Finance recommended moving to a slightly more aggressive investment strategy while still maintaining a strong focus on safety and preservation of funds. Now, while interest earnings will always fluctuate with market conditions, our investments have consistently generated positive returns and allowed us to continue supporting students, staff, and district initiatives. Please note that even if we do no fundraising whatsoever, if we hold no events, that investment account brings in more than $300,000 on average each year. Now we're going to take a look at our efforts throughout this past year. In 25-26, we held our golf tournament at Olmos Basin Golf Course, and we raised about $111,000, and we profited a little more than $88,000. Our total expenditures were $22,726. That took place at Olmos Basin Golf Course, and we couldn't have done it without our sponsors. And our top sponsors for that tournament was First Financial Group of America, FFGA, and Joris. Thank you so much for your support. Now, this was the first year that Travis Verstiff took over as golf committee chair, and I'd like to note that he introduced us to 20 new sponsors and brought in 8 new sponsors that we had never tapped before. And so it just goes to show when our board members are more active, how much more that we can do and benefit. Taking a look at casino night, over at Country Gold, we raised almost $112,000, and our net profit was $82,000, with total expenditures at $29,000. Our top sponsors were Joris, Fluger, KenCon, First Financial Group of America, and Brazos Urethane. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors that support us through these events. Now I'd like to take a look at where some of those funds are making their greatest impact. One of our most popular programs is our Educator Grant Program, or teacher grants. We received 286 grant applications that were asking for more than $800,000. We approved 79 applications and awarded a little more than $200,000. We have a dedicated grant committee that reviews and scores every application. To ensure the process is fair and unbiased, committee members do not see teacher names or campus names when evaluating grants. Instead, each application is scored anonymously using a standardized rubric. We've updated the application page with tips on how to write a winning grant application, because we really want our teachers to do well when they take the time to apply for a grant. Mr. Barsonas, who works with the grant committee, took a deep dive on those grants. And so I wanted to show you this so when you get questions, here's what he found. The number of grants awarded to campuses correlates with the number of applications from each campus. One trend we've consistently seen is that the campus that submits more grant applications tend to receive more grant awards. The campus where there is principal buy-in and encouragement are the campuses that really fare well in our grant process. For example, Mr. Jonathan Cruz encourages his staff to apply at every staff meeting, and it shows. Last year, McNair, and I'm sure it's similar with those other principals, Scobie and Sky Harbor submitted the highest number of applications you can see on that chart. So as a result, those campuses were also awarded the highest number of grants. It's really a great reminder that the more educators apply, the more there is principal buy-in and encouragement, the more opportunities there are to bring innovative ideas and resources to our classrooms. Now, taking a look at the types of grants funded, the majority, or 50% of our grants, went towards instructional materials, 30% went to field trips, and the rest went to curriculum, educational furniture, campus event, and some presentations. Again, this is why it's important that we work with CNI and technology to make sure, or to ensure, we are not overlapping in supplies and such. Moving on to our student experience grants, our newest initiative. A couple of years ago, a few principals mentioned to me that there was a need for student internships and camps. They would have students approach them that were accepted into camps and internships but didn't have the means to apply. So I went back to the foundation and we discussed it, and we created the Student Educational Experience Grants. And as you see that list there have been many things that we've been able to award our students. We sent more than 100 students to the Palo Alto STEM Camp, SeaWorld Camp. We've also had a national high school cheerleading competition. We helped them fund with that trip. We had sent a student to a Harvard online summer camp. Titan esports students, 10 students applied for the registration to go to the state championship, and they went. The foundation approved a grant to a female legacy student to attend a welding camp at Rice University. Most recently, we sent Scobie student Ava Fernandez to Magic Theater Summer Camp, and her family came in to speak with us and talk to us about the impact and the great meaning it's had to be able to apply for this experience grant. And I'd like you to take her words.
I'm Ava Fernandez. I'm a foundation grant recipient, and thank you so much for all y'all do. Theater is important to me because when I was in 4th grade, I signed up for a competition of acting, and ever since I done that, I just like fell in love with acting, and I just love the theater and how everything works, the music, the dancing. It's really what I love, and I want to start go further into the future with it.
So as a parent, this helps tremendously, not only with the financial barrier, but seeing my daughter and the excitement, the love and passion that she has for theater, choir, the arts. It excites me to see that those opportunities are there for her. She excels. I've seen where she's grown, her confidence, her ability to be positive and be a role model to other students. And she started at such a young age and wanting to have this opportunity.
With the grant money and the education, it teaches you new ways on how to act, how to communicate with others, work with others, how to speak and not be afraid, and how just to express your true self and not to stay hidden.
Seeing her grow, she is so adamant about it, and her passion is just tremendous, and it just excites me. And seeing her on stage, seeing how she shines, and just seeing her smile and seeing how much she loves this doing it just excites me. And I thank the foundation for allowing us that opportunity to provide that financial aspect of it, right? So that, she can grow and continue to pursue what she wants to do in the future. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for her.
The application is really meaningful. I'm very grateful that my mom helped me sign up for it. I feel like anyone who wants their dream, definitely try out for this grant, because this will help you help you continue on with your future job or dream or whatever you want to do, and it'll give you better education on how you can learn to try the new things of that job.
So the process is really easy. It's awesome that Southwest provides that opportunity for students. It eliminates financial barriers for parents. It's important for parents to know that these resources are out there. It opens up opportunities for our children to grow, learn, and it provides them with experiences, right, that they would not be able to experience elsewhere. Hi, I'm Liz Fernandez. I'm a proud parent, and I want to thank the Education Foundation for offering these opportunities to our students. Thank you.
That wouldn't have been able to do some of these amazing things without the Education Experience Grant. And it's also interesting to note, I haven't even let our foundation know that I got an email this past week from a parent that we awarded her student a grant, and her place of employment also has grants for foundations, and she's applying on behalf of the foundation to help us give out more grants. So that's really kind of nice that everyone's finding out all the great things that we're doing. Now I'd like to take a look at our district initiatives. This past year, as I mentioned, we were able to give more money, a little more than $300,000 for district initiative. And there are a number of projects that we've worked on. I couldn't list them all, but I listed a few here that we wanted you all to know about. Character Strong is social emotional learning curriculum for middle school kids. Destination Imagination, we were able to pay for almost every group from all of our campuses to go to state for Destination Imagination. They also help with the attendance incentives, the bikes, Legacy Dance, the training facility, the flooring, Crewell Building Actors Interactive Music Lessons, Legacy High School Cybersecurity Classroom, and the Southwest High School Glass Blowing Workshop. Those are just a few that I've mentioned. Also, I saw in person the drumline for Indian Creek, that we've been able to supply those kids with drums, and that's not very common for elementary schools. It's our first elementary school that we were able to award that to. And you see these children, their faces light up playing the drums, and it's so awesome to see them find their passion at such an early age. And we're just really setting the stage for them to really pursue their passions throughout the year. So we've done a lot of great things with the district initiative funds. So what's next for the foundation? Well, as part of our work with the foundation, we are asking for you to approve the MOU later this evening. The foundation is also working on finalizing and approving the 26-27 budget. We are also updating and approving policies and procedures. And as I mentioned earlier, reevaluating the mission and vision, and defining and clarifying our committee roles and responsibilities as we transition to a working board. So this concludes my presentation. Do you have any questions?
I have a comment. First, thank you, Dr. Gates. You've been in since the ground floor with Dr. Villegas. We really appreciate all your hard work and your fiscal responsibility to the foundation and to the whole community, actually. I just have a couple things I'd like to maybe have considered just when y'all are doing your budget. As you know, all the districts face a deficit, right? And so I did learn recently that Alamo Heights Foundation kind of gave the district a little money to help offset their deficit as a one-time gift. So just, little plug. Also, the ability that y'all have to give $600,000 and still have over $5 million in the bank, it just really speaks to the fiscal responsibility that y'all have as a board, and we really appreciate it because other districts are not in the position that we're in to have such a generous foundation, and y'all are still making, money off of that initial $4 million, which we really appreciate. Another thing, let's see. Oh, there are some things that we really want to do as a district, but we can't take out of fund balance because we're already looking at a deficit. So as a board, we would appreciate any help that y'all can provide on those things, those one-time things that we have to do that we just really don't want to take out of the budget. So that being said, I really appreciate y'all and the fact that you gave $600,000 for our kids and our families. I mean, it's just remarkable, and that you still have $5 million in the bank. It's just a testament to y'all's fiscal responsibility, and we really appreciate it. We'd like to keep it at the $600,000 if y'all can.
Or higher.
Or higher because of everything costs so much money. But we do appreciate y'all, and we are not any part of the governing board of the foundation, so all of that's to y'all, but just little things that would help us. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
I have another comment. Sitting on the foundation board as the board representative, I have to say that I am super proud of all of the work that all of you do on a daily basis. I've seen foundation members just work very hard in order to achieve giving out all that money. It's not an easy task. I've seen y'all get up early, go to the different events that we have and work really hard, and it's really very appreciated. We really appreciate it, and I've always let them know that it's unbelievable the amount of work that gets done with this foundation, and very proud of the work that y'all do. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody from the foundation have any comments or anything? Yes, could y'all just stand one more time so we can give y'all a round of applause? Thank y'all so much, and don't feel like you have to stay for the rest, Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to partnership with Teach for America.
Yes, ma'am. We have Ms. Barsonis that's going to give this information, as we are always looking for ways to make sure we have teachers to fill our vacancies. Recently started to look into this, and Ms. Barsonis will share more information.
I'm happy to bring to the board a partnership that you may have heard of in across the nation. It's a national company. It's Teach for America. You may remember in years past, we had City Year and other core members come that want to volunteer or want to go work in different areas for 2 years of service to kind of gain some experience and to learn some different skill sets, maybe see a different part of the world. Well, Teach for America provides us the opportunity of getting applicants from across the nation who want to come in to work as teachers. And so we are going to start our adventure with Teach for America. It is a full-time paid position that is primarily sought after by Title I school districts. It is a 2-year commitment. Teach for America has a history. They have brought more than 750 teachers to the San Antonio area through their history, with over 450 alumni. You may remember Angelica Romero, who was a principal here. She was a Teach for America alumni, and she was proud of that position. The teachers have worked in numerous school districts, and this will be our first adventure working in partnership with Teach for America. Teach for America provides pre-service training to all their applicants, and they coach them on classroom management, on readiness. They do it throughout the summer while the applicants are moving to San Antonio. They coach them throughout the year and throughout their tenure of 2 years with them, so they'll always have a Teach for America coach. They will also get a veteran educator mentor provided by Southwest ISD, and they will find assistance in passing their state certification through that organization. In addition to that, all core members are degreed, so they all have at least a bachelor's degree, some of them more. They have applicants from Duke University, from everywhere, marine biologists to just about any other type of degree you can think of. The core members will come into Southwest and be reviewed by the curriculum department to ensure that we're vetting the best applicants possible. And we hope to fill our vacancies in special education, our core classes, and our bilingual with these applicants from across the nation. Southwest ISD will make sure that we do have a strong vetting system because they'll be coming in from other states. We will get to hire and place them at the schools of our choice. We will ensure that they are all assigned a qualified experienced mentor here. We pay $5,000 per teacher to Teach for America to ensure that they have training, coaching, and they have somebody working with them to get their certifications completed. And then we will ensure that we also train them in their core content, their curriculum, and we help manage anything that they need like we would do any new teacher. We are not obligated to hire any Teach for America applicant. We allow the principals to go through their regular application process, and then they are allowed to select them, and then we choose them to be employees here in the district. So this is a new adventure. We had 2 strong applicants come through. We're late in the process. Next year we'll be early in the process. So we had 2, and we selected one of the 2. So we will have our first Teach for America applicant this year and hopefully grow that into 10 to 20 in the next couple of years.
Does anybody have any, Daniel?
So after the 2-year process, are they afforded the opportunity to stay if they want, or do they have to go back to their home location, or how's that work?
Their time in their core is over, so they may choose whatever they want. Our hope is that they will love Southwest like we love Southwest, and they'll want to stay.
I just want to let the board know we currently have 15 vacancies district-wide. Most of the vacancies are in some very targeted areas of math, science, special ed, and bilingual. So this is one of many resources that we're using to make sure that we bring quality candidates to our district for our students.
Can we direct that company as far as like those kind of applications and tell them what you're looking
Yes.
specifically for?
Yes, we did. Mhm. So specifically, I know some of the principals were looking for those teachers, have been conducting some interviews.
So you said right now we only have one, but could we get more by the end of the summer?
We may be able to, but we can interview all of them, but we only want to make sure that we bring the ones that we think are the correct fit for the school. And sometimes they're coming in from different places, and if they just don't seem to understand what kind of students we have here and what our expectations are, we don't move forward with it. We're being very particular with it. It is our first adventure through this partnership, so we want to make sure it's positive, and that even if we have one, we're going to make sure it's successful.
Right.
And then we will grow there. We did come late into this process. Usually the application pools will start up in January. We started in mid-spring. This next year will be early in getting that application process in with them.
That's exciting, because I know when my boys were little, we had a lot of teachers coming from the north, right?
Yes.
And we got one from Iowa that was phenomenal. I won't say her name, but she was phenomenal. And I mean, she wanted to come down to Texas. So, I mean, we can really benefit from getting people from all over. And like you said, if they like our system, then.
And there are a lot of states that have tenure
Mhm.
that you have to wait till someone leaves before you can come in. So you're subbing for years on end. And that's why that Iowa teacher came here, because there was more opportunities in Texas. We're hoping for the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome thing. Anybody else have? No, thank you, Francis. And then TASB employee survey results.
This is another tool that we use to gauge how we're doing at the district and our campuses. We use this tool to gather information as we've been planning what changes we need, what's working. This falls under Ms. Barcenas' area, and she'll give some updates.
So we have conducted the TASB survey for the last 3 consecutive years. We do this annually in the spring. The scores are compiled by TASB, and they're anonymous. So we don't know who put in what survey, who answered each question. It all comes to us in just raw data after the fact with nobody's name attached. Scores are shared with principals and then through our, to our employees through the superintendent's communication platforms. Some of the results are that 81% of all staff took this survey this year. And then 22 criteria were used to actually gauge satisfaction in their jobs. From there, we had only a 2% loss in one of the categories, and the majority of the people who applied were teachers, with 48% of the people who actually applied to the survey being teachers. For the factors of job satisfaction, the top 4 things that contributed to making teachers want or have job satisfaction was compensation and benefits, respectful treatment of all employees, job security, and work that is meaningful to them. Now, this is really small for you, but if you need a booklet, we can give that to you later. But this actually is just the factors that contribute to job satisfaction broken down over the 3 years. So you can kind of see the growth areas that have coming. You see some of them are gradual inclines, some of them are a little bit declines, and some go back and forth. For job satisfaction, I would tell you that most of the areas of job satisfaction are in the mid-90 range in all categories. The ranges are somewhere between 84% and 97%, but the majority of the employees are happy to be here at Southwest ISD. It is a very high average, according to TASB. I'm going to pass this one on to the superintendent, as these are the scores related to the superintendent.
So this is my part. I've been doing this survey for 10 years, and when I specifically brought it to Southwest, there's a lot of apprehension because the principals get rated by their campus, different department, whether it's child nutrition, human resources, lots of departments. But I wanted to put myself out there to kind of ease everybody's mind to say, we're all in this together. And we use this as a tool to get better. So my team, my immediate team knows what my goal was. My goal was to become a better communicator. TASB has told me many times that at 80%, that's some of the highest scores that they have seen, but I wanted to do even better. And one of the things that we changed was how we did the Monday message. So many of you noticed and commented to me how the Monday message included questions that our stakeholders asked me, and then we answered them as a team. So I see the superintendent on campus and at district events scored an 82%. That did go up from the 81. I feel comfortable approaching the superintendent with any questions or concerns. That also increased to 69%. The superintendent is a good communicator, also went up to 82%. The superintendent cares about students, 88%. The superintendent cares about staff, 79%. The superintendent holds employees to high expectations, 84%. And the superintendent clearly explains the reasonings behind changes in the district. That was a significant increase also. We truly attribute it to the questions that people got to ask us and then that we responded to them. So these questions are very similar to the questions that are asked by the principals, also have the same questions, and their teachers, custodians, all their staff at the campus level answers these questions, just as these are answered by all the employees of Southwest ISD. So I wanted to share this with you because this gives us an indication in regards to what I need to do a little bit different, whether to enhance or improve or just change. But there is a lot of growth in these areas, and highest rating for the superintendent cares about students, and then there was an increase in all areas. I don't know if there's more to this, but I don't know any specific questions about this part. Ms. Parsons?
And so those similar questions are the ones that are the foundations for what I'm going to report. So I'm going to do the highlights for you in any areas of concern. For district communication, all about the same in all areas and all the categories. I listed the 3 years. You can see there 2026, which is this current year's in blue. It's on the top, and then it goes down historically. The highest rating is the district shares important news and event. And the greatest growth is that employees have a way to express concerns to district leaders. As Dr. Ball stated before, we have an avenue for teachers to voice their questions and concerns and to get an answer in a responsive time within several weeks. Senior staff, it's a slight increase in all areas in this area. The highest rating is the senior staff has the best interest of students, and that the greatest growth is the belief that senior staff values employees in the district. For curriculum instruction, there's a slight increase in most areas on this category. The highest rating being teachers are held to high professional standards, and the data needed to make instructional decisions is readily available. The greatest growth is seeing CNI on campus supporting teachers. Administration and human resources, slight increase in all areas in this category. Highest rating, department staff is knowledgeable and helpful. Greatest growth, staff is responsive to calls and emails, and I know who to ask for help when I have problems or questions. Business and finance, about the same in most areas or slight decrease in this area. Highest rating, staff is responsive to calls and emails. Greatest growth, I know who to ask help when I have problems or questions. Special education, about the same in most areas, a slight decrease in some categories. Highest rating, I know who to call to ask for help when I have problems and questions. Greatest growth, the policies, forms, and information I need are easy to access. Bilingual ESL department, increase in all areas in this category. Highest rating, I know who to ask for help when I have questions and problems. Greatest growth is the same as above, but the focus will be on policies, forms, and information being easily accessible to staff because that area was a little bit lower. It's below 80%. We also have our We also have our department comparison. Student discipline was one of the considerations that we had in there. There was an increase in 2 of the 3 areas and stayed the same for the last one. But the what area that we want to focus on is enforcement of the student code of conduct because it was only at 60% agreed. Athletics increased in 3 of the 4 areas, including respect, responsiveness, and knowledge. Slight decrease in the area of accessibility for policies. Guidance and counseling increased in 2 of the 4 areas. 1 stayed the same, including knowing who to ask for problems, being responsive, and the department has knowledgeable staff, which all were over 91%. There was a slight decrease in understanding where the policies and information access was at 85. Transportation increased in 2 of the 5 areas and stayed the same in the other 2, including staff being courteous, respectful, helpful, and buses on schedule. A slight decreases in buses being available for field trip at 80%, which is still a high percentage. Child nutrition, Winston did a great job. Increase in all 4 areas with positive ratings from 89 to 95%. Technology, a slight decrease or stayed the same in all areas from 81 to 96%, which is all still over 80%. Largest decrease is in maintenance and repairs of equipment, and that went from 85 to 81, but still in the 80 percentile. This one is a little different. Just like Dr. Ball had a line of questions, we had a line of questions for campuses. So we took the total score and kind of averaged it out for you so you could kind of see where the campus climate score rating was. Is to ask questions on their supervisor, on their administration, how they felt about the resources they had being given, the support that they get on campus by either peers or their leadership. The campuses with the highest score ratings are there in green: Big Country, Elm Creek, Hidden Cove STEAM Academy, Indian Creek Elementary, Sun Valley, McNair Middle School, and Castem High School. The lower rating campuses for this area were some of our new principals, but sometimes that happens with growth and new principal, new leadership, was Bob Hope Elementary, Meadow Creek, McAuliffe Middle School, Southwest High School, and we put we put Southwest Legacy there because they only had a 68% participation rate, where most people were over 85 or above in their participation. At the very end, we do allow for all the employees to write information to us or to TASB. And so these are some of the accolades that were included, and they group them into different categories. So these are the categories. And so it may have 100 people applying to this, 50 people, 3 people. I've tried to put the top accolades in for you so you could see what the most of the people wrote about. So the supervisor is supportive, appreciative, they love their administrator. Overall, the district is a great place to work. The campus and departments have adequate time for planning and collaboration. I'm not going to read them all, but you can kind of see them there. There were also a list of concerns, so I thought it was only fair that we write both the good and the concerns so that we are able to address the concerns through campus leadership. They want to review base pay. They want to make sure that the supervisors have good communication, because some state that their supervisors have poor communication. The district, some supervisors show favoritism, and some supervisors may be unfair. Campus departments have cliques, things of that nature, benchmark testing. Those are typically the complaints that you would hear from campuses. 1 or 2 people. We took all of them in so that we could address them all. And then after that, there was a space for suggestions. So everybody's always good with suggestions. So we have a list here, and then those lists will be divided out between the people who can actually make decisions on them. For example, providing 30 hours of GT training during the school year, as opposed to people getting in the summer, revamping breakfast and lunch options, bringing MCLs back. You may have heard people want to consider a 5-week pay period, things of that nature. So those are the things that are in the suggestions. That is our summary report of what was in the TASB survey.
Do we have any questions, comments, concerns? No. Thank you, Francis. First read of revisions to the board policies FDA local and FDB local.
Yes, Ms. Barson has been tasked also with a very small change to make sure that we're consistent in regards to our transfer in district and out of district transfer students. So she has a small policy revision.
So in front of you, just to make sure that everybody knows, there is the new revised sheet that I provided from you from TASB. It wasn't in the board book as the final revision from TASB due to our TASB member having an emergency in their family, but it was provided to us this morning, so I made sure I provided it to you today. And so with this, you're going to see the red lines based on the changes that they're asking us to revert back to because we were too specific. And so it provides no leniency for the superintendent or principals to decide who can come in. It can only be one of those stated policies. In addition to that, we have continual questions over who provides transportation or not for people who transfer, and the district does not provide that unless it's required by law. And lastly, we do have a question on what factors to consider when approving a transfer. Historically, we have used the ABCs. So that was attendance, behavior, and classwork, the amount of work that people provide and do in class. We stopped doing that. And so we're going back to that model. And that ensures that we don't take in perhaps an 18-year-old that only has 4 credits to graduate, and then they leave us and then they consider our dropout. So it really is a factor about considering all things, but putting it in writing so people know that we will consider all of these factors before we bring in a person into our district that may hit us on accountability on the back end because we didn't factor in all considerations of academic history. And that's FDA. FDB is our inter-district. That's somebody transferring within the district to another campus. And this allows the principal the same 2 things. 1, to consider their academic history at their former school before moving them over. And B, to ensure the the parents understand that we will not provide transportation for that in-district transfer. This is the first read of these 2 items, and then they will be approved later on, hopefully, in my section through Administration and Human Resources.
Any questions? No? Thank you, Francis. We'll move on to the budget update.
Yes, we have Scott that's been working on the budget. So he has some information to share with us.
Scott, do you have more gray hair now than when you first came to us?
Yes,
Yeah.
especially even since last week. No, but good evening, board members, Dr. Ball. Tonight, we're going to talk about the upcoming 2026-27 budget. So without further ado, let's go. Am I missing the button here, Roger? Okay, there we go. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about the goals of our budget, kind of look at where we're at currently with our year-to-date current budgets, and then kind of take the first attempt at our upcoming 27 budget. So the first thing is our budget goals. Of course, everything we do is to support education and provide opportunities for all students. And of course, we also have the fund balance board policy that we need to keep in mind as we continue to move forward in this process. So, all right. We also have the recently added strategic priorities and goals, and those are available for your viewing. All right. As we go through the budget, there's a lot of hot topics out there right now in the world of the school finance. And one of those is the flow-through payments. We have the TIA, the TRA, and the SSR, which are all funds that we receive into the district, but they're earmarked, so they have a specific use, and so we have a limited flexibility when we receive those in. And so it makes it a little harder to kind of utilize those funds in other areas. We also have the recently approved voucher program that will be taking place next year, and as of April, we have the list right there. You can see the number of applicants and people in our district who are eligible to receive a voucher. I'm not sure if they were already in private school or not, but this is the numbers we have to look at that. Another issue affecting school funding is the political climate. Recently released article, we'll talk about that next slide, talks about the enrollment decrease across the state. So it's hitting everybody across the state. And then another big hot topic is the special education funding. This will be something that'll be taking place in the 27-28 school year. Next year will be a year where they kind of mirror it side by side, and of course we'll keep an eye on that because there could be some big changes coming there for us as well. So some of those hot topics. Any questions on those hot topics? All right. Moving right along into the hot topics, into the newspapers. These are the hot topics that made their way into the paper. As you can see, we're not the only people having some issues with our funding. There's a lot of school districts out there struggling as well. They have we've seen some school closures and some drops in fund balance, so, and also some drops in enrollment, so statewide. All right. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Hang on, could you go back to that?
Yep.
Okay, El Paso ISD also is in the process of filing the same thing, Crystal City, the insolvency. So, I mean, that's a pretty big district.
Yeah, and that's pretty scary. That is a big district, and I even believe their neighbors might even be having an issue
Yeah,
too.
it's a big hit. And then also on the positive side with the legislatures, I know that there are some of our legislators that are talking about that there's two fund like accounts. There's the rainy day, and then there's something else that has billions of dollars in it. And so they're fighting to release some of those funds to us. So that would be nice.
That would certainly be a welcome to our district. All right. So here at Southwest ISD, we have some specific issues that we are dealing with as well as other issues. And one of those is an increased health insurance cost, as well as our increased utility cost. Furthermore, we've lost a little bit of our funding due to enrollment decreases and some hold harmless funds that were not actually held harmless. So, but we have some strategies that we're looking to kind of combat those things. And we have, we're continuing to work on attendance, and you just heard that we are looking at opening our borders to a kind of a limited enrollment. There's also an availability, for us to use the state comp ed funds a little bit different than we have in the past. So that's gives us a little more flexibility there. We're also in the process of applying for the new instructional facilities allotment. That should bring us about an extra $500,000. And of course, we're going to continue to look at department budgets and positions through attrition. So we'll continue doing that process this budget cycle and all budget cycles. So, all right. So we have some examples of some items that are in our current budget that are very important items, but just kind of a little bit underfunded based on our interpretation of the law. So we have some examples of underfunded allotments, such as transportation and safety allotments. You can see that we receive funds from the state, but our budget exceeds those revenues. So, but we have to have it. Very important items. Another item that we have is after school care. You can see that we have a budget of $200,000, but we receive about $100,000 in revenue. So it's a little offsetting, but it's very important. So we want to keep that going. Extracurricular projects that are programs that are very important to students' education is, of course, athletics and fine arts. As you can see, we have very large budgets for those items, and we bring in a little bit of revenue to kind of supplement that as well. So just some examples of expenses out there. All right, that all brings us back to where we're at year to date. So as of last Tuesday, we are looking kind of at where we're at right now with the budget. We originally started off with a revenue of $182 million. We're at $120 right now. We still got a few more months of state funding to come into our bank account, so we're looking forward to that. We are right on track to spend the funds that we've been allowed to spend, I guess. So we have a $188 million budget, and we are on track for that. So any questions about where we're at year to date?
What did you say, the 182 million, and we only have 120 million?
So we have about 120 million that we've received so far from our revenue, and so we still have some more state funding coming in. So 119,811 on the transactions. That's our.
Do we have a projection of what we're going to get?
We can forecast that out. We've got about, let's see, June, July, August, 3 more months of revenue. So we've got most of our tax dollars, as we heard earlier. So really looking at state funding. So we should get some of our
But
state funding.
do you have like an estimate money-wise what we're gonna get?
I do not have that with.
Okay, that's all right. That's just a big old number.
Yeah, it's a large amount, but we get paid from the state in different months. So
Right.
we have our large tax dollars.
Okay.
Well, if you look at the state funding there and the revenue, where it says state, we adopted 126 million. That's what we anticipated getting in revenue. We've only gotten 70 from the state because we don't get paid every month from the state. We get money up front, and then we'll get bigger checks. So we're roughly still getting 50 million, something like that.
You
But
think you're gonna hit the 126?
I don't because that includes the ADA. So what they're doing now, the state is updating PEMS, and so they're going to adjust us. And so that's where we may see some ADA losses. Those won't be as bad as like some of the other investments I talked about, the investments and the SHARs. But we do anticipate getting most of our state funding.
Okay, thank you.
We also have our 25, 26 budgets with food service and debt service, and we're moving right along there. We will have our next upcoming payment for our debt service in August, so that will close out that budget as well. So as we get ready to write the 2027 budget, we have some assumptions that we plug into our budget modules. And so we have the average daily enrollment, average daily attendance of 13,558 students, and a projected enrollment of 15,094. So those are two very important numbers. They pretty much drive our revenue, and kind of we base a lot of our projections off of those numbers, so including our staffing. Just some historical trends that you can see on this slide. You have our enrollment trends for the last few years. We were looking pretty good for a while, and we've kind of plateaued. Same with our ADA, they go hand in hand. So got a little bit of an increase this year. We hope for a slight increase next year. Hopefully we'll get some good news in our next presentation from the demographer in that category. Any questions on the enrollment? No? All right, so in our enrollment by classroom, just in case anyone's interested, we have this breakdown by each classroom. This is what we actually use to staff our schools with. And this is I guess this is our enrollment that we also project our campus budgets with as well. So, all right. Historical fund balance. So as you can see, Southwest ISD has enjoyed a very nice fund balance. We continue to have a nice fund balance, but we are heading in the wrong direction. So we will keep that in mind as we continue to move forward with this process. But as you can see, since 2019, we've had like an $11 million swing in the negative. So we'll continue to utilize the funds as we need. But as we continue to write our budget, we will keep in mind that the fund balance, as we're getting closer to the board approved 4 months, so we need to make sure that we're keeping that in mind as we move in that direction. So I know we did use some of the ESSER funding in 21, 22, and 23, so that kind of supplemented the fund balance a little bit. So we have a higher budget there, and I think the district was planning for that, so they were able to save some of those costs and use those funds now as we're kind of short. So that's kind of what's going on in that capacity. Any questions? All right. Proposed revenue. The revenue is kind of the building block of the budget. So for us, we're looking at a revenue of 184 million, almost 185 million. Of course, this number may change by the time we get to August. We have not received our projected our certified values yet. We also kind of keep in mind our investments are a little bit lower. We're showing that here, as well as our Medicaid and SHARS program. You can see that number's kind of a lot lower than it has been in the past. Any questions on our revenue? No? All right. This is our campus allotments. This is what we are providing each campus for them to use for their day-to-day items, such as their custodial supplies, their copy machines. We've got a little bit tighter this year than we have in the past. We trimmed a little bit of the budget down over the past year to make sure that we can try to save some money in this category. I know as we move forward for next year, there won't be as much funding for some of the, some of the field trips and whatnot. So we're kind of making sure that we're keeping this budget as tight as possible. And we're doing the same thing for the department budget. So, all right. All that being said,
Scott.
here, oh, yes, ma'am.
Before we do anything about cutting the budgets, I really want field trips to be important. The kids love the field trips, and they really get to do very little as far as field trips go.
Field trips are fun. I like them too. Yep. So yeah, we'll definitely look at that number right there. It's we're also looking at some other items to see if we can trim around. Maybe try not to buy so much stuff at one time, kind of like we talked about the just-in-time, not storing as many things on campus. But yeah, for sure. Here we go with the draft of the general fund budget. This is round one, I guess. This is a very base model budget, I guess, not a base model car, but a base model budget. We've got a budget that has a salary freeze in place currently. The stipends are in place. The only increase to the salaries would be the principal strategic compensation. We're added $120,000 to that budget category just to make sure that we can hold harmless all the salaries. So as we move forward with the strategic compensation. So payroll right now makes up about 82% of our budget, so we're right on track with that part. When it's all said and done, we have $189 million in expenses, leaving us with about minus $4.4 million in the hole. So, which at the end of 27, if we go with this budget, we'd have a projected fund balance of $55 million, which is still within our 3-month. That's actually 4 months worth of operating expense. So.
Is the dollar amount for the 3 months, is that on here?
I did not put that on here, but it's about 45 million. So
45 million. So when we look at what we have left that we could even consider using, we have to take out that 45 million.
yes,
Okay.
we would have to keep that in mind. The starting point would be the 3 months.
And then that would leave us, if at this projected fund balance, that leaves us 10 million. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Any questions on this draft budget? No? All right. All right, so next steps, we'll meet again in July, kind of talk about compensation, and then see another draft of the budget. And then hopefully by the end of July, we'll get our certified values and we'll be ready to talk about the budget and adopting the tax rate in August, and then start the new school year in September. Any questions?
Any questions? Y'all are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Just get that red number lower. We're good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Now we have the demographic study update.
Yes, ma'am. Tonight with us, we got Brent Alexander. I know he's pretty familiar. He's been doing this for us for a while, helping us project. It's a big part of our budget, but it's also a big part of our growth and like future bonds and seeing where we're going across our community and what's happening. So he has a lot of information tonight. I know it's been a lot of presentations, but this is very important for us. So I'm gonna turn it over to Brent. So it's all yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cripps. Dr. Ball, board members, good to see everyone again. Tonight I have our 25-26 district demographics update to share the key highlights with you. Let's start by taking a look at the annual snapshot numbers. You can see on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see that the official enrollment for the 25-26 school year was 14,868. That's another record high for the district. So if you look back over the last 10 years, the district's enrollment has grown just under 1,200 net total students. That's about an 8.6% increase, which with a lot of that growth happening after the COVID pandemic. So you can see over the last few years. Now recall the greater San Antonio area is made up of 32 public school districts. I've given you the official enrollment totals for the 25-26 school years for each. You can see that Southwest ISD has the 6th largest total enrollment now in the region. It moved up from 7th place, moving ahead of SCUC. recall a year ago, we talked about enrollment being forecasted to surpass 15,000, potentially grow towards 15,300. But this year we saw enrollment flat. You can see that the net growth was 35 students. It was up just a little bit above of no change. So, but keep in mind that after we presented back in the spring last year, you all did halt your pre-K3 program, and you made several changes to your enrollment policy and your out-of-district transfer policy. And then combine that with the political environment over the last year, you can see that all of those things have contributed to a flat number. I've given you updated timeline average growth percentages. So you can see the last 5 years, the district is averaging 2.1% growth. The last 3 year, about 2.7. The last 10 year, right about 1%. So that 2.7, when you compare to what the other districts are seeing in the region here on this map, note that I've highlighted districts that are that have experienced a decline in blue. Districts that have seen growth are highlighted in red. So just like you saw in the previous budget report, many of the districts that are shaded in blue here are experiencing the things that you're seeing in the headlines. Declining enrollment, the closure of schools. Many of these areas, especially in the mid-urban areas of the district, or excuse me, of the region, are experiencing aging in place and declining enrollments for their younger population. Now I'm going to show you, you guys are a little bit different than that. You all had an 8.2% growth over the last 3 years. That ranks 6th overall. Keep in mind, if you self-impose some restrictions on yourself. So even with those restrictions, you all had the 6th most growth on a percentage basis, and you had the 4th largest enrollment growth of all the districts in Greater San Antonio over these last 3 years, with a net growth of about 1,120 students. So there's a lot of positive things. People want to be here in the district, but it is complicated, and I'm going to talk about that as we move forward over these next few slides. These are the latest numbers that we have from our national data source. These are census-based numbers. So the numbers for 2025 show that the district's overall population is now over 78,000. There's over 23,000 total households. The growth rates for both population and households are faster than what we're seeing from the district, from enrollment. You can see there 3 to 4.5% growth. So what we're seeing is the number of households is growing faster than the population. So more people are moving in that with a smaller number of children. The household size is getting smaller, and this is a trend that we're seeing across the state. You all will see that the chart there on the right, there's over nearly 22,000 estimated residents of the district that are under age 18. Think about enrollment being about 15,000, and I'll show you here in a minute the numbers that are actually living within the boundary. But there are a considerable amount of younger people that live in the district that are not enrolled, and I'll go through that here in just a second. But this is our timeline of the totals by grade. I've highlighted everything in green. Recall the growth wave, or this pulse that has moved through the district over these last 10, 15 years. You can see how many of those are, how that pulse is now up in the upper grades in 10th through 12th grades, seeing record enrollment these last 2 years. For a number of years prior to COVID, and then it's recovered. Well, prior to COVID, you saw the numbers in elementary through really in K through 8 begin to decline behind that big growth wave. But we've seen the numbers come up over these last few years. So this is very encouraging. This goes against a trend that I see in a lot of districts today. Most districts that I'm working with are seeing declining numbers in K through 2, you all are actually growing, and I'll show you what that birth rate and what's contributing to that coming up. But do note there in the pre-K column that change, that reduction of about 155, 160 pre-K students, that was your program change there that caused that change. So just note going forward, when you look at our forecast at the end, we have adjusted our numbers for pre-K to be right about that 800 number going forward. The totals by attendance level are shown here. You can see that kindergarten, that growth in those K through 2 numbers have influenced, continued to influence elementary. You can see these last 4 years since the pandemic, we've seen the numbers for elementary continue to grow. And this year, you all had a record 6,100 K through 5 students in the district. Those numbers, those younger grades moving up are now starting to move into the middle school grades. And you see these last 2 years, the numbers in 6 through 8 are starting to grow. The high school numbers have flattened out as that growth wave begins to age out. I've given you all the numbers for the official numbers from the TEA for 25, 26 for each campus there. I'll move ahead and show you a couple of metrics that we look at each year. Here you can see the graph showing the students in 12th grade represented by the yellow bar versus what's coming in. Prior to 2017, you can see that you had considerably more younger students moving in than at the upper grades, but that inverted. The lines still remain very close together, so it does moderate the pace of growth when you have more that are exiting than coming in, but they're growing back together, which is an encouraging sign. Now, to some of the things you've seen in the headlines, yes, the overall numbers for the birth rate in the state has been flat to down. Overall, the enrollment for the state is down. But I wanted to point out here that you all are kind of going against a trend with the growth in your kindergarten and your birth rate. The blue line represents the totals for births for the 4 main zip codes that make up the majority of the district's boundary. You can see that those numbers, the data that we have through 2023 shows that for 2021, 2022, and 23, mothers that lived within the district, the number of children that they've had born have climbed to record levels. So this is an encouraging sign, because not only did you reach a 13-year high in kindergarten this year, you're positioned to see kindergarten surpass 1,000 next year and potentially grow towards 1,200 or more over the next 2 to 3 years if those students show up. Just to comment on the birth rate before I move ahead, the majority of the births within the district has been in the 78252 zip code. That is your Cinco Lakes area, all of the 1604 up to Highway 90 area. So some of that number will fall in Medina Valley schools, but a lot of it falls in Southwest schools. So that portion of the district is poised to see or continue to see growth. Now, this is our mobility slide. Remember, we're looking at students that were enrolled in K through 11 and then are present in 1st through 12th grade the next year. The numbers this past year were a little bit smaller, but the overall net result was just about the average that we've seen, just under 400 newcomers into the district. So it's been very consistent since the pandemic that you all are seeing about that amount coming in each year. Now we get the TEA transfer report data every spring. So I've given you the updated number here. So this is the slide that talks about students that live within the district but are attending another public school district or public charter school. This does not include private schools. So this is saying that just under 3,800 total students that live within the district boundary are attending elsewhere. That's what the orange bars represent on the chart on the left. So you can see the majority of those are attending local charter schools, like we've talked about for years. But those numbers have been pretty stable, as you can see in the chart. Also, your neighboring school districts are, through their open enrollment programs, are pulling students. So we've got students going in different directions, and this is something that, as everyone competes for having more higher attendance with dollars tied to that number, you can see the wide variety of other school districts and charter schools that the district's having to compete with. We've also seen a little bit or incremental growth in the virtual learning, and that's been a theme for many districts that I've met with over the last year as they look to expand or potentially bring that back next year. So we're going to see more of that out there. So competition for your students remains very strong. All right, moving ahead to just look at the geocoding. The students enrolled in the 25-26 school year are shown there, represented by the yellow dots. That's about 14,000 students that live within the district boundary. So that's 94% of overall enrollment. That's what's been very consistent these last few years. But I thought you would like to see these theme maps. I have given you two versions. This first one is, well, the first one the label should be, this is the 6 year from 2019, pre-COVID to 2025. So areas that are shaded in red, those are the areas that you have seen the most growth. So looking at that, everything is kind of in between 1604 and 410, with that area that is out there where the current Alvarado Elementary is being built around Southwest and our Legacy and Resnick. You can see that's where the majority of the growth, that Watson Road, Fisher Road corridor. Also, you can see around Medio, the old Pearsall corridor in there. But then also that Cinco Lakes area that's up there in Southwest Elementary, there up south of Highway 90. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of blurry. That minus 278 and minus 236, what streets are those? I can't tell.
Well, these are planning areas that we created, but those are basically that's the net decline that are really in the Indian Creek, in the Hidden Cove, in the former Sky Harbor attendance zones. But these are, you all are experiencing the losses of our declining enrollment in those areas inside 410, which
Right.
is all related to the Sky Harbor decision.
Right.
But also you should pay attention to that you have declining enrollment in the north, in the Crewald and Big Country area. Those areas have also been influenced by nearby charters and aging.
What color are those?
They're blue. That's that 252.
Oh, that's all the blue.
In the upper
Okay.
panhandle. So many districts that are in the mature areas, if they are, if their housing is a generation old or more, or they're nearby charter schools, that we're seeing declining enrollment no matter which district you're in.
And then so that minus 252 is in the Big Country area
Yes.
at the very top?
It's one caveat I should say with this. We do have the pre-K numbers that have dropped a little bit. So up in that area, you could have 40 or so that were in the data that are not, with that program change with the 3-year-olds. So, but still, even with that, those are the areas that have seen declining enrollments. And without this, you all would be growing even faster. So that's always something to consider. I've given you the 3-year number here, just so you can see how that compares to the 6-year, but generally the same areas. And also remember that the Elm Creek area out on the west side of the district has also been growing. And then many of the areas that are currently Bob Hope and Spicewood have seen. But the older areas in Bob Hope and Spicewood have also seen some maturing and declines there. We use the geocoding to update our student yields. This is a summary of each one of those. The first up is the single family. The current single family enrolled student yield is 0.44. You can see how that trend has been gradually declining. It's kind of leveled off there around 0.45 as more homes come in, but 75% of the homes that are built in the district today are on 40-foot wide lots. So as I talked to you last year about that, those homes are smaller, and as those smaller homes have been built, we've seen the yields go down. That number also represents that not every student enrolls. So if the historical norm is around 0.6, you can see there's a proportion of that are not represented there. I've given you a list of all of the subdivisions that are active, and many of the newer neighborhoods are producing a 0.2, 0.3 yield per house. So it takes more homes to yield faster growth. But I just want you all to understand that yield is low historically, but it is what we are seeing pretty much every area of the state with the new type of housing that's being built, especially the new, more affordable entry-level type homes that Lennar and D.R. Horton, Syntex are building. They're 2,500 square feet and smaller. These yields are lower. Apartments, as we get more apartments coming in, more build to rent units coming in, the yield's still right around 0.4. That number is also declining. It also represents competition, but it's been a little bit more stable historically this past year with some of the newer apartment complexes that has opened. The yields have been slightly smaller. So we are factoring all this into our enrollment projections that you're going to see at the end. I'll move through the portion on the macroeconomic quickly here. The key takeaway is that the macroeconomic conditions for Greater San Antonio are still very solid. Job growth has slowed down. That's probably the biggest concern. You can see here that it's come back over the last 2 years from that normal about 23,000 a year that we saw from 2010 to up to the pandemic. Mortgage rates still stubbornly high, they're remaining above 3. This is the resales. The turnover of existing homes continues to be flat. That I talked to you before about house lock or mortgage lock. A lot of that just continues. There's really been no change, and we're not expecting to see a change until interest rates drop into the 5s. But overall, there's still about 18,000, 19,000 homes being built in Greater San Antonio. The numbers are still pretty good. The builders have not overbuilt the region, and the numbers are pretty strong. And you all are a leader within your new home construction is one of the leading areas of Greater San Antonio. So here are the numbers that we counted through the end of March. There were 1,378 starts, 1,423 closings. These are off a little bit from last year, but last year was a record high. So the numbers are running really close to those record numbers. And you can see that the demand for homes is strong enough that the developers are continuing to put about anywhere from 1,200, 1,500 new lots on the ground. So just in the last 12 months ending in March, there were 1,488 new single-family lots that were added. Here's what I was referring to. You all are the 5th most in Greater San Antonio. When you take all of the 18,000, 19,000 houses that are being built, you all are 5th in terms of total production.
A quick question. When you were doing our projections, did you include that new subdivision on Pearsall Road, the Lennar Homes one? Like, I think it was like 300 homes.
Are you talking about, yes, I have that coming up.
Oh, perfect.
So here's a list of the top producers. You're going to see many of these fall into elementary zones. Then these represent the upcoming fall 2026 attendance zones. That you'll see that they many of them feed into the Resnick attendance zone. But just a quick point, One of the things that has been a big topic nationwide is affordability. You all have, many of your new homes today are actually below the median for the region. So affordability is a key driver. I know that it takes more of those smaller houses to generate fast student growth, but you have a lot of demand for people moving in to purchase the median house. It's about 275 today. Now with Alvarado under construction there, we did the tenant zones back in the fall. So the data that you see in the report now is based on those new tenant zones. So the majority of the construction that is out there, or residential construction that's been out there the past year, falls in the Alvarado tenant zone. So you can see a little more than, or just under 600 houses over the last year have been built in the tenant zone. The Bob Hope numbers, Southwest and Crewell Road numbers also very strong. 69% of the activity falls into Resnick. So you can see how with this, Resnick will trend larger than the other eventually in terms of total enrollment, and this is the reason for that. But then when you look at high school, you can see it's still about a 60-40 split between Legacy and Southwest. Now, what's inventory-wise, there were about 800 homes under construction in March, about 2,400 lots that are fully developed. Then coming behind that, about 1,150 lots under development. And then we've got 3,400 that we're watching in the proposed pipeline. In addition to that, there's about 2,400 apartments that are still planned. So when you combine everything, we're talking about 7,700 single-family lots, 2,400 apartments. This map here shows the new elementary zones. I've circled areas of focus for the developers. You're going to see there's a lot of continued focus on that Watson Road and Fisher Road corridor around the Alvarado attendant zone. There's still a lot of attention around Vida in the area there in the Bob Hope attendant zone. But your Sunshine Trails is what you were talking about. That is 600 plus lots for Lennar that's coming. I've got some good photographs of it coming up. And then there's still hundreds of lots to go up there in the Applewood area, in Cinco Lakes area that fall both in Crewell and Southwest Elementary attendant zone. Here's some photos. I'll quickly go through these starting in the southeast. Here's Vida right next to the University Health Medical Center. These photographs are from the end of March. This is Lennar moving into the Smiley Tract there south of 410, west of Zarzamora, Hunter's Pond moving towards build out, and Applewood Meadows here. You can see one of the newer apartment complexes there at 16 and 410. This is Preserve at Medina. Up in the upper left, you can see the future Emberstone apartments that are under construction. That'll bring about 250 units in. Those are actually in the Spicewood attendant zone. That running kind of through the middle there is the boundary between Alvarado and Spicewood. And so here's another shot. Here's Watson at the bottom of the screen, and you can see some more of the development that's coming in. The Watson Road corridor is very interesting to take a look at. I'll move forward to this slide because it gives you a little better view of what's happening. You have subdivisions where like KB Home and Medina Crossing there, but you have Habitat for Humanity that has done Rancho Carlota, and then you have Verano Farms. You've got there's almost 600 lots that are in that planned zoning case on the vacant tract that's kind of next to Camino Real. So this whole area is a big area of focus. And you can see, if you just turn your attention and look north on the photograph here, that you all have 3 schools right there positioned to handle that residential growth that's coming. Move over to, as you move back towards 35, here's Lennar at Valley Sol, and then there's some smaller ones down there on Von Ormy Road in Canto Hill there in the center of the photograph. When you jump back up to the 90 and 1604, here's some of the newer lots in Applewood, shown here on these photos. Sorry for the helicopter being a little turn there, but this is Cinco Lakes as it moves towards build out. Note that Lucky Ranch, most of what you see in the photograph here is in Medina Valley, but there are still 300 lots that are planned in this area there. That's kind of the upper right that are Southwest ISD. You can kind of see the vacant land to the east there. And then this tract that's down here under development, it actually extends further east and will eventually pop over the boundary into Southwest ISD. But here is Summer Hills, Sunshine Trail. Summer Hills is what's already been already been building in, but it's Sunshine Trails, which is the 600 plus lots that Lennar has on Parasol. It's between 35 and Parasol Road. Here's another view of it. If you look in the upper left corner of the photo, you can see Southwest High School and Southwest Elementary and then the admin building right there. So it's not too far away, just right down the road, another big subdivision. Okay, so when you put all of the developments together and forecast them out, we're looking at about 5,100 homes over the next 5 years. Generally, that's about 1,300 over these next few years. The numbers will come down as some of these popular areas build out. There could be newer developments come in to keep the number up towards this 1,200, 1,300 a year. But right now, I'm forecasting it to slow down based on what we're seeing. But we're looking at 5,000 to 8,000 houses over the next 5 to 10 years, plus the additional multifamily developments. And so then taking that into account and then taking the program changes that we've talked about, all of this, we've revised it down a little bit from where we were a year ago. Not looking at more of a 3 to 3.5, but more of the 2 to 2.5% growth. So that's what the new moderate is. On the budget report, you saw 15.1. My low scenarios, more of that, but your roll up is close to 15 already. So all of this residential growth should bring some growth. It should push you towards 15.2, 15.3, and that keeps you in that low 2% per year. So if that happens, we're going to see enrollment grow towards 16 to 17,000 over the next 3 to 5 years. You all have the capacity to handle that growth. What will come first is the need for more elementary space, and that's what we show here on the blue line. It's similar to what we saw a year ago. Right now, you're still looking at not moving into that 90 plus capacity utilization until 5 to 6 years from now. If the market speeds up, obviously that could move up in time. But right now, at that 2% growth, you're looking at probably in that 2031 timeline before things get really, really tight at an elementary level. I've given you my projected numbers. We'll have to iron some of this out based on your program decisions, but these are our initial our campus projections by grade level. So with that said, I will answer any questions that you have.
Can you help us get better roads? Is that part of your job? No. Do y'all have any questions or any clarifications? Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
I will say it's nice having the same guy all the time because you already, you have the background to really keep us well informed. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to go to item N, temporary pause and recalibration of secondary dual language program. And then after that, we're going to take about a 5-minute break to walk around and then come sit down again.
Yes, I have Ms. Velia Terraces who's going to present that. We're going to keep it brief.
Thank you, Velia.
My leg was falling asleep.
Yeah.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Ball. This evening, I'm going to present item of information in regards to the secondary dual language program on behalf of special programs and the bilingual ESL department. So as you can see here, the reason that we are doing this is because after doing some program evaluations and in preparation of our staffing meetings, we found that we really want to focus on the progress that our students are making or aren't making. And so when we looked at that, we looked at what does their progress look like for emergent bilingual students. We also looked at what does our staffing look like. And I know there was just a presentation that was made in regards to how we have Teach for America, and we do have some shortages in those areas. And then also, are we following a coherent and model that is being followed with fidelity? Are you doing it or? Oh, okay. And so this is really the data that we looked at. When we look at the EB progress, when we're looking at their TELPAS scores, and which is the English language proficiency rates, we looked at overall as a district, there was a 36.4% progress rate that we did make. But when we look at the campuses, we noticed that there were 14 out of 18 campuses that did show a decline. And so 10 out of our 18 campuses did earn their 3 to 4 points in TELPAS. And so with that, we will have a further breakdown of the data when we present our annual report in November. And so we found that 8 out of the 18 campuses earned 0 points. So when we were looking at our dual language program at secondary, we found that it would be a better, more feasible idea for us to focus on those students and those campuses who are not making those progress. So basically, we want to pause the secondary dual language long enough to give us maybe this following year to really identify what our targets are going to be, what type of support models we're going to put in place, and then also what type of staffing we're going to need in order to be able to continue these services at McAuliffe, specifically Resnick and Southwest Legacy High School. And so when you look at the secondary campuses and the progress and the points that they earned, 2 middle schools are the ones who did actually earn their points. McAuliffe was one of those, and McAuliffe does have that dual language program at secondary. And then the other one was Scobie, which just has the ESL program.
Are you saying the ones that did not meet?
Correct. So
Okay.
McAuliffe did not get their points and Scobie did not get their points. McNair did get their 4 out of 4. Resnick did get their 3 out of 4. And then when we look at the high schools did fairly well. Southwest High School did get their 4 points overall. Legacy got 3 out of 4. And then CASTEM also got 3 out of 4. But if you notice, CAS did lose a little bit of value, and they do have a very small number of emergent bilingual students, so a lot of that sometimes is taken into consideration. But in particular, McAuliffe is one of those schools that does have a large number of emergent bilingual students, and they do have the dual language program. That doesn't necessarily mean that all emergent bilingual students are in the program. Some of them do get serviced by ESL. So in particular, when we're talking about the dual language students at McAuliffe, between the grades of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we're talking about approximately 82 students. When we look at the elementary campuses and their results, we can see that overall there was a weighted rate of about 39.3%. So we do have the 11 campuses. 2 of them did show improvement. You can see there which ones did get their 4 points. Southwest Elementary did get their 4 out of 4 points, and they also showed some value. Spicewood Park, they did get their points, but you'll notice that they did have an 18% drop. Creewald Road, Sun Valley, and Big Country did earn their 3 out of 4 points. And then you can see also that some of them did lose value. And then you can look at the elementary campuses that got 0 out of the 4 points. So those are going to be our big focus areas. And like I said, coming in November, we will have more of the data broken down. So we know that in order for us to really see this progress, we want to make sure that there's capacity and fidelity with the programs that we are implementing, whether they're at elementary or at secondary. So one of the biggest findings was the ability to be able to staff these classrooms with certified dual language teachers that are also certified in the core content area, such as biology, history, or whatever it is that we're asking them to teach in that Spanish language. And so we're not going to completely abandon the dual language program at those 3 campuses because we did implement it for a reason a few years back, and we wanted to make sure that we continue with those students being able to be truly bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural. And so at this moment, we're just going to be pausing the program, like I said, in order for us to be able to come together and reevaluate what are our resources. Do we have the staffing? Do we have a plan in place to be able to grow these teachers? And with the help of some of these other resources, if we can be a collaborative effort to be able to fully implement a true dual language program. And so what does that mean for the students? They're going to continue to get services. We already offer an ESL program at secondary at those 3 campuses. So with that same model as those other students who are not necessarily in a dual language program, they will continue to get their services. There won't be a disruption in any of that. They will continue to be monitored through their LPAC committees. And so we will just make sure that they continue to get the type of support that they need from the Special Programs Division. And so before we decide to relaunch this, we will be coming back to provide the board with an update as well as senior staff. And so we want to be able to make sure that everything is aligned for our students, that we can staff it accordingly, that the curriculum is there for our teachers as well, and then that it's being implemented with fidelity. But at the same time that we have our targets in place to be able to make sure that our students are being able to be successful academically. And so if we find that we cannot really fulfill all of these areas, and we will be honest and be able to bring that to you. And so, again, there's not going to be any disruption in services. We're going to continue to be able to find ways to recruit teachers, retain them, and also provide the training that they need. Also make sure that we stay in clear communication with our families and making sure that those students are being monitored, and that every student has a documented service plan to make sure we're also in compliance. And so, again, we're just going to be pausing the dual language program at those 3 particular campuses. And so the cohorts that we're discussing are those 5th graders going into 6th grade. They will just be referred for ESL services at those 3 campuses. The current students that are going to be moving 6th to 7th grade, 7th to 8th grade, also will be recommended for ESL services, and their parents will be informed as well, giving them the information, knowing that they're not going to have any disruption of services. And then also the cohorts at the high school, which are going to be 9 to 10 and 10 to 11. And I think that is, yes, the end of the presentation. Are there any questions? I try to go fast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to take a short 5-minute break, and then we'll come back. At 8:06, but we don't adjourn, right, Roger? Okay. We're just going to go on a break. I'm going to go ahead and resume our meeting. We'll go to item 7, Administration and Human Resources. Consider approval of revisions to board policy, FDA local and FBD local. Those are the things we heard earlier, right, Francis?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm asking for the board to consider the approval as presented.
Unless there's, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, you go. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve it. All those in favor say yes. No, I'm sorry, vote yes or no, or abstain. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Okay. Moving on to item 8, Business and Finance. Consider approval of the ESSA
Yes, ma'am.
Consolidated Federal Grant Application.
Yes, ma'am. Similar to the, this was a presentation in the public hearing, and so we're recommending to the board to approve the ESSA grant application as presented in the public hearing.
Could y'all turn your microphones on when you make a motion, please?
I move that we approve the grant application.
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Flo? Okay, there it is. All right, that passes. Thank you. Consider approval of change order number 2 for the Child Nutrition Freezer Addition and Renovation Project.
Yes, ma'am. Change order number 2 is just a credit back to the bond funds of $8,012. And so we're recommending the board to approve change order number 2.
Brandon, does that money go back into the bond funds?
It does.
Okay. We need a motion. Or
I move.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any questions? No? Please vote. Okay, thank you. That passes. Thank you. Consider and take possible action to approve engagement agreement with Moat Casey as financial consultant related to application on taxable value limitation on eligible property.
Yes, ma'am. So at the public hearing, the first public hearing, I know that we had Moat Casey and Wash Gallegos here presenting on the possible jetty with Toyota. During the application process, Toyota had donated, or not donated, had to pay to the district $30,000. $15,000 will be used for us to consult with Moat Casey. So right now, I'm asking the board to, I'm recommending to the board to approve our engagement agreement with Moat Casey as our financial consultant. And there's
I
a,
move that the board approve the financial consulting agreement with Moat Casey on application for taxable value limitation on eligible property with Toyota Motor Manufacturing Texas, Inc., Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts, application J0032, under Texas Jobs, Energy, Technology, and Innovation Act, Texas Government Code 403, Subchapter T, and delegate authority to superintendent to execute same.
As second.
You second?
Mhm.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? No, please vote. Awesome, thank you. Motion passes. Consider and take possible action to approve engagement agreement with Walsh Gallegos, Kyle Robinson, and De Los Santos, P.C. as legal counsel related to application on taxable value limitation on eligible property.
similar recommendation. This would be funded with the $30,000 would be using the $15,000 for Wash Gallegos. So recommendation is to enter an agreement with Wash Gallegos to represent us in this project.
I move that the board approve the legal services agreement with Walsh Gallegos, Kyle Robinson, and De Los Santos, P.C., application for taxable value limitation on eligible property with Toyota Motor Manufacturing of Texas Incorporated, Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts, application J0032, under the Texas Jobs, Energy, Technology, and Innovation Act, Texas Government Code 403, Subchapter T, and delegate authority to the superintendent to execute the same.
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? If not, please vote. Thank you. Motion passes. Item E will be pulled until after closed session. So we'll move on to item F, consider approval of Southwest ISD Education Foundation Memorandum of Understanding.
Yes, and this is to continue the partnership and the work that I presented this evening. This MOU will be brought back for approval every 3 years.
Thank you, Jenny.
I move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there are no questions, please vote. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you. And then consider approval of PA intercom replacement at Southwest High School.
Yes, ma'am. The Southwest High School current PA intercom system is not functioning properly due to its age. It's kind of been Frankenstein together throughout the years. So Southwest ISD staff has reached out to Lone Star Communications Incorporated for a quote to replace this system. Lone Star is the service contractor that works on our existing Southwest High School system and then all of our PA systems. And this is, the new system will be standardizing across the district that we've been doing at all of the other locations. So districts, and it will also be part of the 2023 bond fund, will be what it's paid from. And then so the staff recommends board award the contract to Lone Star Communications Incorporated to install that new PA system in the amount not to exceed $199,857.
Thomas, does that include the complex or no?
This is strictly the high school build. It's the
Okay.
building, the career center, and the ag building.
Well, I know we talked about
So
the complex.
that's that's an item that will be coming back in next month's meeting.
Thank you.
I move.
We have a motion and a second. And if there are no further questions, please vote. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you, Thomas. Let's see. No, nothing under item 9. Item 10, consider approval of a legal service contract for Maddox and Muniz PLLC for special education legal services.
Yes, Dr. Hogan has some information in regards to a law firm that we would like to use.
Yes, in regards to kind of the complexity that we continue to see in special education and related areas, we continue to see increases in TA complaints, due process hearings, and really just the overall changes in some of the regulations and laws regarding to special ed. We really want to look at a change in potential legal services for Southwest to really look at making sure that we are providing the best services to our students and our families and to our district. Through this process, really what we did is we looked at what our anticipated legal support needs are for special education and related areas. And then we looked at the expertise of potential people that could bring services to us. And then we looked at individuals that have represented Southwest in the past. Also their availability, their responsiveness, and just the district needs in general. And so what we would like to recommend is that we look at a legal contract with Maddox and Muniz. Those legal services would be funded through the approved legal service budget and utilized on an as-need basis in accordance with the negotiated fee schedules and engagement and agreement. And so tonight, the recommendation to the board is to approve legal service contract with Maddox and Muniz PLLC for legal services and to authorize the superintendent to negotiate and finalize any agreement.
And this would be moving all of special ed.
And related areas, so special education, 504, student service areas that kind of all relate together, yes.
Okay. And is that for a year, 2 years, 3 years? Is it a yearly contract or?
I believe the legal agreement that we have looked at is a year-to-year basis, yes.
Okay. Board members?
I move to approve the legal services contract for Maddox Muniz PLLC for special education.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? If not, please vote. Thank you. Motion passes. Before we go into closed session, Dr. Ball, do you have anything?
Yes. Last week, there was a TASB conference, and we had several members of our team that did a fabulous job in presenting. I would like to introduce and recognize some of them. First of all, we had a Penguin Project presentation, and Dr. Hogan, Richard Flores, Carl Dickerson, and even some of the students participated, and it was wonderful. So congratulations to y'all for a job well done. We also had a presentation with TIA Strategic Compensation, and Anitra Chris did that. So I'd like to congratulate her on the job well done there. I think she was assisted by the deputy. And we also had library services that did a presentation, and that was led by Veronica and Laura. So we'd like to congratulate them for representing our district so very well in that. We also were featured in a toolkit to champion public education. We are on page 21, and so just wanted to share that with you. Everybody got a copy of that, so wonderful things. Tomorrow, we start a session of 3 sessions for our summer book bus tour, and it's a lot more than just books. I know Winston and his staff are going to be there, Francis and lots of staff members, Dalila, everybody's going to be out there. So if you can join us, it's from 9 to noon. It'll be a wonderful event, and that's taking place tomorrow. Then we have one in July 28th.
Where tomorrow?
Spicewood. Spicewood. The 28th is at Aquatics, and August 6th is at McNair. Just a reminder that we will be closed the 4th of July week. And then just recently, Mr. Madrigal received a $5,000 grant opportunity for some of the teachers that have been TIS readiness approved. So very excited about those things that are happening in the district.
Are the offices closed on Thursday for June?
Yeah, this Thursday, yes.
This Thursday, okay, thank you. Just to piggyback a little bit on the Penguin Project, it was very well attended by session goers. And I think we're going to get at least 1 or 2 schools that are going to be willing to take the leap into the Penguin Project. So it's going to be transformational for those school districts, just as it has been for us. And Carl and Richard and Aubrey did a fantastic presentation on that. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. That's all. So let me read it all. As permitted by sections 551.001-551.146 of the Texas Government Code. Mona, do I have to read the entire thing or is that enough? Okay, we're going to be going into closed session at 8:28. Daniel, going back to item 8E, consider and take possible action on application for taxable value limitation on eligible property with Toyota Motor Manufacturing, Texas Incorporated, Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts, application J0032, under the Texas Jobs, Energy, Technology, Innovation Act, Texas Government Code 403, Subchapter T.
I move that the board adopt a resolution regarding proceeding with negotiations on agreement regarding an application for taxable value limitations on eligible property of Toyota Motor Manufacturing, Texas, Inc., Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts, application J0032, under the Texas Jobs, Energy, Technology, and Innovation Acts, Texas Government Code 403, Subchapter Texas Government Code, sections 551.071 and 551.087.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Do we have any questions? If not, I call for the vote. Thank you. Motion passes. And then under section 11, pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, discussion on personnel and administrator employment, resignations, reassignments, leaves of absence, contract renewals.
I move that we approve the superintendent's recommendation on personnel.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say or vote. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. The B we already did, right, Brandon? Okay. That does conclude all, I'm sorry. Okay. No, I mean, that includes regular business, right? Okay, and then Dr. Ball?
Yes, I would like to wish Miss Ida Sadolkin a very happy birthday. Today is her birthday, so I'd like to wish her a very happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm 62 now. Thank you. If that concludes everything, we're going to end the meeting at 9:24. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for staying so late.